In this video, we're going to solve the longest substring without repeating characters problem in LeetCode. So longest substring, no repeating characters. A substring is a left index and right index and everything between them. In this example, the long substring with no repeating characters is ABC or BCA or CAB, and the length is 3. How to solve it? What we're going to do is to find the longest substring with no repeating characters that ends at different positions. That is, for every possible j, find I such that Sij is the longest substring with no repeating characters. Let's go through this example to gain some insights. The longest substring with no repeating characters that ends here is A. The longest ends here is AB. The longest ends here is ABC. For these three characters, since there is no previous occurrence, we can just append the current character to the previous longest to form a longer substring. What is the longest substring with no repeating characters that ends here? It's BCA. How do we know that? Since there is another A here, if we are going to include this A or anything before it, then we're getting a repeating character. So the longest can only start here. For the same reason, the longest ends here is CAB, and the longest ends here is ABC, and longest ends here is CB, and last is B. We're actually maintaining an invariant here, that is, at each step j, Sij is the longest substring with no repeating characters that ends at position j. The problem is how to update I in step j plus 1 such that Si prime j plus 1 is the longest substring with no repeating characters that ends at position j plus 1. There are two cases. If the character Sj plus 1 is not in the substring Sij, then we can just append this character to the substring to form a longer substring. Then I will not be updated. Else, it means that this character occurred in this substring, we need to get its position, and I prime will be the next position. How do we get the position of the last occurrence of a character? Well, we do not need to iterate through the string. Instead, we store the last occurrence of each character in a dictionary so that we can get that information through a dictionary lookup in constant time. With this idea, we can write the Python code. Pos is the dictionary to store each character to its last occurrence. I is the left index. Red is what we are going to return. It keeps track of the current max. J is the right index. C is the character at position J. If C occurred before and its last occurrence is greater than or equal to I, we need to update I to the next position of where it last occurred, such that Sij has no repeating characters. We always update the last occurrence for each character. Since Sij is a new substring with no repeating characters, we also need to update the current max if it is possible. After we've done with the for loop, the current max will be the global max. Red is the length of the longest substring with no repeating characters, and we just return that. Let's submit the code. and it is accepted.